start building the program up to where in 1960 we had the state band concert. He used to have record crowds for these concerts. He always performed with a concert band. And he started the majorettes. There was no majorettes here before. When he came here, there was just like some teachers did this part-time, which was a small band. And he just built it into a big program. He's, in a short time, he was here from 1953 to 64. He had 13 people join the band. 6 of them taught here.
That's amazing track.
Yeah, there's Charlie Severino, Buffett Church, Ed Raylo, my brother Gary Catronio, and Kim Bell, and one of the other people that weren't in the band actually went to different schools, you know. But very strong person. A very good chorus.
What was his specialty? What did he play?
He was a trumpet player extraordinaire. And why people like to go to the concert, they might want to see the band. He could always perform with the band. And he had his own local band called the Stardusters over here. It was made up of local music teachers in the area. And they were a very popular band, playing all the stuff from the 40s and that. And then he was a very good, he was a star pitcher for the 1990s softball team. Yeah. So he had a lot of talents. And he was, even to this day, if I go to a function somewhere and someone would hear my name, like an old person, you know, that went to school back in the 50s and 60s, come up to me and remember my dad.
What does it mean to you and your family to have the piano rededicated?
We're on good health. My mother's 93. She's going to be watching this night. It's been 57 years since he passed away. And it's very important. I love seeing this here. We didn't think the piano, we didn't know too much that was on our mind, this piano. And my sister came up here for a class reunion. And the principal showed her the tour of the school, saw the piano. They wasn't using it. It was in good shape, so that's why they had it refurbished.
Yeah. How much do you remember of this being dedicated? How old were you when your dad?
Oh, I don't even know if there was any kind of celebration. You know, it happened a year after he died. It was 65.
You were how old?
I was 11. All the kids here went to school. Like most of all my siblings, we all went to school here. We went to band. We were on all the music programs here. We had chorus, musicals, high school band, marching band. But I can't remember them having a dedication back then.
You still live in the area?
No, I live in Greensburg.
Okay.
And all my family lives down in Georgia and Florida.
So you said they were able to watch us tonight on the...
Well, they're watching, yeah. Very tragic accident happened there, you know, way to Iowa. My mother raised 7 kids. She was pregnant with twins at the time. Here's another important fact that happened from this. Was when he passed away on the road, water ran piano. There was no ambulance, but so
When did Laura Lamar go back to the Homer Center name?
Laura Lamar went back to Homer City. So it used to be Homer City.
Right, yeah.
Back in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
And turned into Laura Lamar around 53 or so.
That only lasted about 15 years.
Yeah.
Didn't it, that name?
And then around 66, it changed. 66, 67, it changed back to Homer Center. I don't really know why they changed, but it did.
Easier identity, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
Do you guys have any specific questions you want to ask me?
I think I got
that
one.
was that was good. That's right from the heart. There, Twin Towns.
Yeah, I thought they were right behind me.
Just for the Alan, how do you say the last name?
Catronio.
Catronio. Okay, that's your last name.
C-O-T-R-O-N-E-O.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I wanted to be sure that I had that because I don't want to mispronounce it.
I got some other pictures over there. Just a lot of
Is this all yours?
yeah.
Or is this out of the school?
No, it's all mine.
Oh, okay.
I just collected over here.
Alan, show me the picture of your dad in the band. Just pick that up so I can get a picture of you. And you said that he was.
I got two pictures of
And all the other people in the band were all members.
Mr. Rededication, how you doing? Oh, I forgot your. I forget. I'm a hugger. I don't.
He's in front.
You guys can stand there or you can go over here. Well, see the camera right here.
I like it.
If you guys were ever here, wherever, we're gonna do most of everything right here, Are we get everybody to kind of get gathered here? We'll get started just in a few minutes, hopefully a few seconds. Okay. You ready, T? Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. We have our school board gathered here this evening. We have Alan Catronio. He's here representing the family. Plus, before we get started, I just want to say a special hello to the Catronio family gathered up in Atlanta, Florida, and all parts in between, I'm assuming. First off, Mrs. Catronio, I got to share a quick story before we get started. I'm Jody Rainey, I'm the high school principal, and I had a lot of opportunity to learn a lot about your husband, and for the kids, your dad. And so Melanie Davis shared a good story for me, so I understand, Ms. Catronio, that you're recovering from a hip and you're rehabbing well. So, John, I'm going to speak for our band director. I heard a story that during your family reunions, you guys put on a parade every year. And so I heard you play a mean triangle, so you get that hip well and you can travel up here. We'd love to have you with us in that parade at the middle of the center of the universe, what we call a memorial field. So you have an open invitation anytime you'd like to come and play the triangle. And John said he'd even work a solo in for you on the triangle. If you got someone that can play more cowbell, we'll add that in as well. But anyhow, welcome everyone. This is obviously a very exciting evening for the Homer Center School District as we gather to rededicate the Baldwin Grand Piano in honor and memory of Mr. Anthony Catronio. As the principal of Homer Center, I'm a strong proponent of preserving the traditions and the artifacts that represent and connect Homer City High School, Laura Lamar, and the Homer Center High Schools. Tonight, remember the father of our modern music program, not only for his contributions to our music program, but also, and more importantly, his dedication and love for the students of our high school, our community, and the love and dedication he had for his family. I know many in the Catronio family are gathered tonight with their mother watching, and although I've never met your husband or your father, I can promise that the importance he placed upon relationships and respect for all, giving of himself to others, and all the years and everything he represented is still represented and present and alive in our faculty today. I love quotes, and Bruce Springsteen is one of my favorite artists of all time. And he said, "It's not the time of your life that matters, it's the life in your time that counts." And obviously, Mr. Catronio made every day count. The time God gave him was never wasted. It was maximized to its fullest. Mr. Catronio is taken way too soon, and however, his legacy and all his values and things that he represented lives on through his family, those fortunate enough to call him teacher, to call him a friend and a colleague. Thank you to the Catronio family for sharing him with our school and community. And at this time, we're going to ask our current band director, Mr. John Stolars, to come forward and offer a few remarks.
Good evening. I'm John Stolars. I'm the current band director here at Homer Center. When this project first came up, Mr. Burdick had this great idea to take care of this and get this piano restored. I was thrilled. And the main reason why, from the very beginning of my time here, I was very concerned about how our current band program could honor our past and how that connected and how we could connect the history of Laura Lamar and Homer City and Homer Center to what we're currently doing today. And through the years, we've had several alumni events on the football field, and actually, Mr. Catronio has joined us on several occasions to play the snare drum for us. And we've had other band directors with Mr. Dorelio and Mr. Signorino also be part of that. And when this one came up, it was a great opportunity to expand my knowledge base on what the history was of our band program. And hearing more from Mr. Rainey and from Mr. Burdick, it was extremely exciting to hear everything that Mr. Catronio had done in his time here, and to hear all of the lives he had touched and all the other band directors that he had created, not only just here at Homer Center. I think 5 of them had come back here and taught.
Yeah, 6 of them came back.
6 of them had come back here and taught band at Homer Center, but also all the others who went off to teach elsewhere. With that being said, I think it was very important to take this project on so that not only can we keep that spirit alive through the experiences that those people have shared with us over the years, but also through the piano that is behind me. So we are very excited to rededicate this piano this evening, having been fully restored back to its original glory. And I just want to thank everyone for letting me be a part of that process, because it really was, to me, an important thing. It's important to know where we've come from, to know where we're going all the time. So thank you for letting me be part of that, and I will pass it on to Mr. Burdick.
Make use of this. My name's Gary Burdick, a longtime member of the Homer Center Board of Education and an alumnus of the Homer Center Band. I'm very pleased to represent the school board that's gathered here beside me today and welcome you to this celebration to observe the restoration of our grand piano and to preserve the legacy of Mr. Anthony Catronio. I also too want to especially welcome his family, including his wife Betty, son Alan, who's here with us today, and other children Gary, Kathy, Randy, Jim, Nina, and Mia. Mr. Catronio was a highly regarded music teacher at Homer City and Lar Lamar High Schools, the predecessors of what we know as Homer Center. From 1953 until the tragic accident took his life at the age of only 42, after just setting out for the school picnic at Idlewild Park on June 1st, 1964. As Mr. Rainey said, it would not be inaccurate to view Mr. Catronio as the father of the modern music program at Homer Center. When he began as senior high band and choral instructor in 1953, our bands were comprised of approximately only 30 members and were taught by part-time teachers. He quickly inspired strong interest in the band, and by just 2 years later, by 1955, the band had grown to 65 musicians with another 45 in junior high band. A high quality standard was also reached and maintained. The Lamar bands, as they became known, achieved a reputation for excellence, and their concerts routinely drew capacity crowds. Multi-part choruses also became the norm, and he also initiated an excellent majorette program. After this new high school was constructed, he was successful in the effort to bring a state band concert to the Byers Auditorium behind me. Mr. Catronio was a graduate of Indiana State Teachers College and obtained a master's degree from Duquesne University. He served his country as a member of the Army, where his musical talent was quickly recognized, and he was made a director of the Army bands. He was thoroughly dedicated to his vocations as a husband to his wife Betty, father of 7 successful children, I think most of which became good musicians on their own right. You had a band called what, Fox, you and your brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For many years, right? And also as an active community member, music teacher, and accomplished musician. In addition to his work at the school, he gave private lessons to countless students and traveled around to the district's then 6 elementary schools in the band truck, there's a picture of it here, loaded with instruments for summer lessons. He's also remembered for his own trumpet solos at our concerts, performing as a member of the popular dance band, the Stardusters, and for adorning his Homer City home with shutters that all had an 8th note on them. I don't know if you remember it, but it was easy to spot. You knew someone who loved music had to live there. He was also an excellent athlete and was a star pitcher in the Indiana County Softball League. Of special significance, he was the composer of our alma mater. Further evidence of how he inspired his students is the fact that at least 12 of his students, as mentioned, went on to become music directors themselves, including many here at Homer Center. And he worked hard to get them into college and further their ambitions. Finally, of note, his death and the lengthy delay that was experienced in getting ambulance help to the scene, which at the time was only available from local funeral homes, was the impetus for the founding of Citizens Ambulance Service. It caused such a reaction that the people of Indiana County knew something had to be done. So that's quite an important part of his legacy too. With the growth of the music program during Mr. Catronio's tenure, the district was challenged to find the funds to provide all the extra instruments and things that were needed and more uniforms. At the same time, he professed a desire to have a grand piano for choral accompaniment, and an effort began to raise the necessary funds. So upon his death, the community was inspired to bring his goal to fruition, and the Baldwin Grand Piano was acquired and dedicated to honor his memory. This piano has been used through the years for concerts, musicals, graduations, and other programs. However, with the years of use, it unfortunately fell into a state of disrepair. Therefore, out of respect to the historical significance to Homer Center and to maintain its role in recalling the legacy of Mr. Catronio, the school board approved the restoration of the piano this year. It will now be displayed permanently here for all to see and remember, and played to welcome audiences to school events. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette recently ran a lead editorial talking about the value of music education. In it, they mentioned that there's well-documented correlations between studying music and developing executive function skills. Also said that music participation correlates strongly with higher graduation rates and test scores. And concluded by saying that the drive to make and enjoy music is a fundamental aspect of human nature, one that should be nurtured. Mr. Catronio did all of that, and the impact is felt to this day here at Homer Center. Concluding on a personal note, even though I was young, I well remember that day that the accident happened. You know, they say that things like that have that permanent impact in a way that other things are long forgotten. But I remember how it reverberated through the community, sent shockwaves around, and how sad the community was. But at least out of this sadness came a long legacy and came a joyful day today. And to know that Mr. Catronio will be permanently remembered in this way is an honor that he earned, and we're happy to do it. I was in the drum line with Alan, and truth be told, I was nowhere good as him. But he inspired me to get as good as I could and to fill his white bucks when he graduated, at least in credible fashion. And he and I spoke, and we agreed that an average of 50 years later, we could get down to the band room and play every beat of an intricate 4-part cadence and 3 special cadences. So that again tells you how impactful music is. Maybe we'll do that someday on Alumni Day. And I guess that's about all I would want to say, other than to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the students, Mr. Stolars, Mr. Whitesell, Mr. Rainey, the administration, and the school board, all of you whom are here today, for buying into this project. When I told them that the piano was kind of forgotten backstage and needed attention, and talked about the legacy of Mr. Catronio, they quickly bought in and said, yes, we have to do something about that. So here we are today, and they're all with me, and I thank them for their support, and they're always supportive of music and doing everything that we can for our students here at Homer Center. So thank you again. I struggled a little bit with this mask for breath, but I got through it. And now we'll call Mr. Catronio, Alan Catronio, up for a few words.
Well, Jerry said most of the highlights I was going to tell you. But anyway, on behalf of the Catronio family, and which is my 93-year-old mom, Betty. Hi, Mom. And all my siblings, Gary, Kathy, Randy, Jimmy, Nina, and Mia, and my immediate family and relatives, and everybody from students and friends who was touched by this great man. I would like to thank everybody involved in this rededication of the refurbished piano in our dad's honor, and keeping the legacy alive for what he did for this school's music program from 53 to 64. Now, he mentioned a lot of the highlights already. There's a few things there I should bring up. That I said that he had 13 students that went on to be band directors. 6 of them worked here, and one of them was my brother Gary, who worked the elementary program for about 2 years. And then his last concert was in April of '64, and it was near capacity seating. And a lot of people like to go to his concerts here to see the band, but also to see him perform. he would always play a trumpet solo with the band whenever they played a concert. He was the first one to start what they call the fast entrance. If anybody watched a football game, halftime show back in the 50s and 60s, you would see the fast entrance. And they kept doing that even whenever I was in high school. And I'm not sure when they stopped it. And his time away from teaching, he was raised 5 kids at that time. He was a star pitcher for El Patty's softball team, and had a perfect game. There's some information on the table about that. And he went and got his master's degree at Duquesne, and gave private lessons. There was like merry-go-round of people coming through the house at all times to take lessons. So he gave a lot of private lessons. He had his own band called the Stardusters, made up of local band directors, and they performed in the area. Very popular band back then. And what else did I say there? But everybody that knew my dad just loved him. To this day, I meet somebody that knows the name, they say, "Oh, I had your dad in school." You know, it's positive things all the time. He really had an impact on everybody he met, from students to friends in the community. And so this means a lot to my family, especially my mother. And I'd like to thank everybody involved in doing this. So again, thank you very much. It means a lot to us.
Pete, we'll get this shot here. You're on one side and Jerry on the other. Give me a second. I'll tell you when. I'll give you a signal.
So this time, in order to commemorate this special man and this special evening, we will permanently display not only the piano, but this accompanying plaque for all who visit our school. They'll know that Mr. Anthony Catronio was certainly a dedicated teacher, but more importantly, a man that people should emulate and try to make sure they capture his loving spirit and all that he's done for many people. So at this time, it's a great honor that the Homer Center School District rededicates the Baldwin Grand Piano in memory and honor of Mr. Anthony Catronio.
Take it closer to the family. And I'm going to steal, unless you were going to say this, Jody, I'm sorry, but I want to steal some of your words in our planning. He pointed out that he thought this was really the super location for this because it literally forms the axis of 3 of the most prominent symbols of our history. The piano, of course, is in the middle. Behind us is an icon painted by another one of our prominent teachers, an art teacher, Mr. Felix Tartalone, that speaks to the character of our history. And then out on the patio is the original school bell that is now an important part of our graduation tradition when we ring it before the graduates throw their caps in the air. another special part of our tradition. So right here in line with each other are these three reminders of the importance of Homer Center to the community and its legacy items, and we're proud to have them. And we thank the community too for all of their support that make these things possible. Okay.
And before we conclude this evening, again, thank you everybody, but one thing I want to point out, the Catronio family, if you can turn the camera back there, Tegan, these 8 students are 8 of our students that have qualified this year for regional band, and 3 of those also have been named to 3, John? State band? To the state band, which is the most in our entire region for PMEA, sorry. So I just wanted to let you know that the traditions and the excellence that Mr. Burdick had mentioned prior is still alive and well, and our band is thriving, and it's because of the foundation and the dedication of people like Mr. Anthony Catronio. So again, everybody, thank you for gathering. This will conclude our ceremony for this evening. And to the Catronio family, once again, thank you for just sharing this wonderful man with our school district and our community. And we wish you all the best. And anytime you do get up in this area, please stop by and see us. We'd love for you to see it firsthand and meet you and talk and hear stories more about your dad and what a great man he was. Okay, everybody, that's good evening. And then Tegan, if you don't mind, for the family, if you could kind of, I mean, I'm sure they saw this, but if you can get some shots too of some of the things on the table before we go, that would be great. I don't know how you're going to do that, Mr. Garatano, but we could. Okay, we're going to start the school board meeting pretty soon in the cafeteria, so people get that way. And our students and Mr. Stolars, thank you. And Mrs. Marshall, thank you.
Okay. Very nice, thank you for coming.
Just swing it, we're gonna swing it so we can get some shots for the camera as well. The camera's attached by wire.
Hold it up for you. Probably 58, yeah.
A different 62 years.
We had the most beautiful majorette in Pennsylvania or something like that. Yeah, most beautiful Homer girl said that the most beautiful majorette, Miss Karen Burke. I remember this coming around to the elementary schools for lessons with his truck.
I think those are band uniforms that wore up till last year, right? I think so.